Great, we're on. It is 2:00 on a Thursday. This is live from the gorgeous northern uplands of Scotland. All the snow is starting to melt, and so we can see colours, which is a great boon. Spring may yet be in the air, so we should enjoy that when it comes. I hope you're having an okay week of it. Lots going on, isn't there? But we're going to flip over to have a look at what's on our agenda for today. Sorry, can't operate a computer and talk at the same time, but the slide is now ready, so you're going to enjoy that. So let us have a look at our great things that we're going to look at today. And I thought we would have a look at the metadata page. Sounds so silly, but we haven't been there for ages. We've been doing a lot of things with, assuming that there's data that you've put into the metadata page, and then sort of using it, aggregating it, bringing it all together, getting the most out of your one version of the truth. But it's been a few, I'm going to say weeks or months since we looked at that page. So let's do that. Let's have a scamper through. So you'll enjoy seeing what I have shoehorned into these headings as we go, I'm sure. What's on the first thing. And the first thing is, under the heading of change, let's review the audit trail. So again, you put something on the metadata page, and that might be the first time you've added some data for that one particular work, or it might be just the latest in a long series of additions. And sometimes it's really nice to see who did what. And I'm not suggesting that we, start pointing the finger at who changed the price from $17.99 to $7.99. But it's still really nice to be able to see, this sort of audit trail of what happened and when. So let's hop on over to our, consonants. And let's have a look at a particular book. So, okay, Cats Throughout History is right here. Let's click on that. When we click through on a work, we tend to go to the overview page. This is not the metadata page. The metadata page is the metadata page. But this gives you this sort of heads up, top level insight into the big shapes. It's got some handy dandy buttons, as we know, for going to explore further. It's got the means of copying this data onto your clipboard, and then you can wander off to your email or other places. It's got some quality insights, it's got some project management insights, and so on. And sometimes it is useful to be able to see that top level overview, isn't it? Because the metadata page has a lot going on by definition. It amuses me sometimes when sometimes new clients, sometimes prospective clients say, we've fed a spreadsheet into our other systems. It's got columns A to S. Why can't we just use that? And God, you think about the minuscule amount of information that you can keep in an Excel spreadsheet row, and then you start thinking, but that's a like book level, product level. So what about when I've got 11 different products on the same work? Do I have to type that in 11 times? Yes, you do, but not on consonants, not on the metadata page. So I'm rabbiting today, but this is a great sort of pithy overview of some of the core bits of info that matter. And then, if you want to dive more into the metadata, you go to the metadata page. But we are here to have a look at the audit trail, and it's under the insights column up here. Got a few insights for you: sales analysis, checks, discoverability, but we're looking at the audit trail. Click on that, and we go to this rather, it's not the most beautiful page within the system, but you're not looking for beauty when you're trying to figure out who did what when. You're looking for the history of Cats Throughout History. So apparently it was 2 long years ago, Can that be right? Wow. 2 years ago, when I first thought that having an imaginary cat-oriented publishing company would be a good idea for the purposes of demonstration. 2 years ago, this thing got created, and the title went from nothing to Cats Throughout History. And the contract went from nothing to some random number here. And you're thinking, well, what does that even mean? If you're in the audit trail area, I feel like you've got carte blanche to be a little bit more sort of terse about your data. If you want to find the contract ID, for that is what it is, then that's what you're going to get here. Same with the imprint. Because, you can have imprints that are all but a spelling mistake different from each other, but there's nothing like an identifier like this, a canonical identifier, to know exactly what was going on. So yeah, all sorts of things. BZACs went from nothing to some other BZAC codes. Themers, same sort of thing. Keywords went from nothing to there. So that's great. So that was a create. That was a create action. So that means that was exactly when the work was created for the first time. But then other things happened after that, and you can see if I scroll down. I mean, we've been using this book quite heavily, haven't we, on these phone calls, these videos. So yes, it's done its fair share of being changed, and it'd be interesting for you to go and have a look at, a work that you did maybe a couple of years ago, just sort of get that diary entry sense of what happened. So we changed the season, we changed the project stage. We on just the hardback, we created a hardback, great, and added some page trim stuff that came from a template, you can tell. We added a paperback with no ISBN. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so sometimes it can be really helpful to go back and see, on this particular date, this particular person did a particular thing. Great. Comes in handy for things like pricing, doesn't it? For things like, if you want to know when the Onyx was set to go out, that's a cracking one. Because you might want to then chase down Nielsen or someone and say, well, we changed this on blah, blah, blah. And then we can see that the file actually went out on blah, blah, blah. Building up that picture. Great. So that is looking at the audit trail on Insights. And, there's some other interesting stuff there as well. But I've got an agenda to stick to, so let's stick to it. Great. That was what I was going to call change for the day. Very good. What's next? Reach. Right, we are getting to the metadata page, its very self now. Going to look at subject codes. So when I thought, let's look at the metadata page, I thought, it's a lot. There's a lot to cover. But I think that subject classifications are a bit of a gateway to findability, aren't they? A bit of a gateway to integrating with other people's systems. Certainly the theme code classification list is used by the systems of other people that you really want to make sure they've got your data and they're doing a good job with it. The BZAC code list, similarly, very, very important that your works follow the rules of everybody else's works. And then you're playing the game, aren't you? You're making sure that other people's systems reflect your data in the way that you need it to for sales and for reach and for readership. So there's loads of aspects to the metadata page. I suppose short story is anything that needs to go on an advanced information sheet or an ABI or a tip sheet, anything that you'd expect to see on your website's product description page, anything that you'd expect to see on Amazon's product page, you would expect to see on the metadata page, and a whole bunch of other stuff beside. This is the bibliographic descriptive text of your work, isn't it? And we've got various regions. We've got the identity region, we've got the format region, we've got pricing, we've got publishing, marketing, contributions, and we've also got subjects here. And subjects as a section contains something about keywords. It contains something about in-house subject codes. It's got your thema codes. It's got your BZAC codes. It's also got bit codes, which we have kept in despite it being so appallingly out of date. I can't even remember when it was actually sunsetted. Bit codes are no longer a thing, but that doesn't mean that other people's systems aren't still using them. So if you know, or if you get told, oh yes, we still have to receive bit codes, jolly good, add them there. But I wouldn't spend as long on bit codes as on BZAC and thema codes. Then there's NER codes, and we've got something about audience and Dewey Decimal Classification and Library of Congress as well. But I'll show you the general vibe here. This isn't a bad one actually. Look, we've got a few different codes. And I'm just going to keep this description quite vanilla because we are doing some interesting things with subject classifications, and I would like you to watch this space, watch our notifications. But I wanted to have some, baseline discussion of it before we get fancy. So let's have a look at this. Here are our thema codes, and this is like our thema code picker. So you can have a look at some guidance, and this is taken with permission from Editor's Outstanding Advice. Here are their 7 golden rules. Did you see how I got that? I clicked on thema guidance. Click on that. That opens. Brilliant. You can close it again. And we've got some sort of base level of, a sense of whether educational purpose qualifiers should be present, interest qualifiers should be present, and on this one these are present. And so one thing that you would want to do is, I'm not sure if Tiger exists. There you go. So Tiger has come up there, and you don't see the word Tiger in the list anywhere, but the notes that come from Editor, who tirelessly toil maintaining these lists, getting great ideas from everywhere, keeping it current and relevant and useful. Editor adds a lot of useful commentary into the notes, and we process those notes and we make them findable here. So if we click on notes, I'm expecting to see the word tigers. So you do quite well for banging a search string into the search here and seeing if anything appears. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't need to be the code. It doesn't need to be in the name itself. It can be in the notes. And Constance's team haven't written these notes. These come straight from Thema. So the great thing there is that you are using the same structure as other systems. And that's so important. It's this idea of a lingua franca, isn't it? That you get to talk in, tag up the way that you describe your works in a way that has a very defined kind of lookup, whether it's in consonants or in somebody else's system. It just removes that ambiguity, and it means that your books, because there's no point in things being able to be exquisitely found in consonants if they don't work on somebody else's system. We need to make sure that your data gets into other people's systems in a way that they are able to process and make use of. So this is a great thing to get good at. I would suggest that getting a coffee and reading the actual documentation of Thema is a really fruitful exercise. Because if you don't, somebody else will. And there's riches buried within it. So it doesn't hurt, especially if you've got a really specific editorial area that you're responsible for. Learn your codes, learn the capability that you've got. Because if you can tag things up in such a way that your books are going to be making the best use of that is clear competitive advantage. So big fan of that. Anyway, so you search or you scroll, These are grayed off because best practice says you do not include multiple codes in the same hierarchy. So if I tick general cookery and recipes now, even though I've cooked, oh my God, even though I've ticked WB cookery, the parent, that's going to get greyed out in favour of its more refined child, I guess. So I tick that. Now we have stopped you from wasting thema codes. Same thing if I extend the family tree there. If I now check comfort food, my general cookery gets obliterated. And then if I uncheck them, I'm free to do whatever I want. So that's important, because you don't want to be sending... It's funny, you don't want to be sending too many thema codes, and you don't want to be sending too few. You've got to think of other people's systems. They're not just sort of random computers. They do have rules, and it's perfectly possible that they would only ingest the first 10 thema codes. I mean, some people do things like only ingesting the first 6 contributors, which it explains why you get this sort of fight for the sequence number of contributors to be important. So, always think about the constraints is the most polite word I can think of. The constraints on other people's systems, and make your data as terse and descriptive as possible. What else do I want to say? Once you've selected your thema codes, you can move them around, so you can prioritise them if that is a thing that your distributor needs, which we have heard of. Marvellous. And that's about it. So get good at thema codes. It will stand you in good stead. I'm going to close that, and I'm just going to show you that the BZAC codes are kind of the same. Now, BZAC are maintained by the fantastic folk at BISG. Did you know that you need to have a BISG membership or a license from BISG in order to use BZAC codes? Just because you use constants, it doesn't mean that we're not paying for your license to use BISG's codes. So if that's news to you, definitely get in touch with us or with BISG. They're fantastic, lovely, hardworking people, and they do need to eat. So that is a source of income for them that we should all be supporting. So again, same sort of thing. If I do hobbies, I'm going to get things with hobbies. BZAC codes don't come with notes, so we're not searching in notes because there are no notes. But the same sort of thing applies. You can select your records, and then you can drag them around, and that's all lovely jubbly. Same sort of thing as well. It's not advised to select multiple codes from the same part of the hierarchy. So since I've got animals and cats selected there, the parents are greyed out. If I unselect animals and cats, I'm free to do what I want. Let's go with ducks. It's funnier than cats. Oh, we should have ducks. Okay. What's the Latin for duck? I can't remember. Okay, you can write in. Exciting. Lovely. That's thema codes. That's BZAC codes. As I say, as an extremely vanilla starting point for perhaps talking about this stuff more in the fullness of time throughout 2026. In-house subject codes are a thing. I've rather lazily only put one in here. If you have lots of in-house subject codes, then you can import them. Let us know. We'll probably import them just because it's quite nice to have a chat about what you're trying to do with them, so that we include them in any configurations that we need to. If you want to add more subject codes, go to settings, data exchange, admin settings. Oh, we've got BIC, as I said. We've got NER codes. Don't make me try and remember what it stands for. It's the Dutch Uniform Subject Classification Scheme. So if you distribute your books through Bank, as I'm handily reading here, they are one of the trade partners who use these codes. Find out more there. So yes, and if you happen to chance across a subject classification scheme that you don't see in your metadata page, maybe we support it for somebody else. So always get in touch, ask us the good questions. Right, that's subject classification codes at a very, very top level. What is going on in the world of expertise this week? I've put never gets old on this one because I don't know, I think we all need a bit of a treat, bit of a, you know, a spiritual uplift this time of the year. So let's do something joyful and exciting, which in my world is getting the table of contents from an ebook. Got to get your kicks, haven't you? So let's go to a work. Let's go to Cats Ahoy. I quite like the muted tones of Cats Ahoy, so we'll do that one today. So what we're going to do in Cats Ahoy, we're going to double check that I've not gone to the files bit of Cats Ahoy previously, and we're going to check that we haven't already uploaded some ebooks. And we're going to check that the background server's on because we're on my local machine again. So in Cats Ahoy, we have got a range of products here. We've got some print, we've got some audio, we've got PDF, EPUB and another EPUB. So let's go to the metadata page and just check that I haven't trampled all over it already. So metadata page, and we go to files. Oh, I've chosen a bad one. Okay, let's go to a different one because I want to show you, you know, nothing up my sleeves, and then move on. Why don't we find one of the ones that I uploaded the other day, which will definitely have barely anything in it. Cats at Large 5079, whatever that means. It's barely even got any products. Can't have been here, so that's good. Right, so that's even better actually. So first thing we're going to do is make sure that this work has a EPUB product on it. And we're just going to check that we haven't previously uploaded any artwork files and any content files. And what we're going to be doing is upload a PDF, and Constance is going to let us extract the table of contents out of the bookmarks section of that PDF. Thing the first. Thing the second is we're going to upload another file, probably an EPUB, and we're going to extract accessibility information out of it and apply it straight to this work. So I want you to see that there's no content files currently. There's not even an accessibility region because there's no ebook on this work yet. So let's do that first. I'm going to go to Add New, and I'm going to, from vanilla, add work to this add product to this work. So now I've gone from having one product on it to two. I've got my paperback, I've got an undefined. Great. So let's double click to edit this format area. I could use my handy dandy in-house format and in-house edition templates, but I want you to have as plain an experience as possible actually. So we're gonna just do it manually. So I have selected that it's an electronic book text product form because that's what the Onyx code list says. So that's what we're going for. And I'm also going to make sure I say what the ebook format is as well, because I don't want it to be unspecified. I want it to be an EPUB, which is 029, which we all know by now. So great. So I've got my, and you know, we can hop back to our insights page, can't we? Our overview, and we can see at a glance, we've got our paperback and we've got our ebook, and that is all going fine. So back to the metadata page. So I am going to upload my first file, and I'm going to do that by going to Files and Add a Content File. It's an ebook. I would like it to be distributable. I have approved it, and I'm going to see if it's handily sitting here. We will get the PDF first. So I think I can do that. I can't do that. Damn it. I have to fill all of that in again now. Where? Back to here, back to here. Ebook, distributable, approval status approved. You see, I knew it wouldn't go to the right place. Ugh, never mind. So with bookmarks, and I'm going to open this. So I've got my PDF file ready to upload. I've said that it's an ebook, and it's applying to all of them at the moment because it's a PDF, that's fine. So I hit save on that. And our background workers are going to spring into action and start looking at that file. And that little black thing that you see jumping out there, that's my local background server having finished that. So it will tell me up here that has been analysed. Lovely. So I can click through to that if I want to, but I can also stay on the metadata page and I can see what I've got going on there. So in the files section, here's the file I've just uploaded. This is the nice and tight view of it. We've got this expanded and contracted view because there can be a lot of data, which you kind of want. You want to get a lot of data out of these files, but equally, if you're not in looking at file mode, then you don't want it to get in the way of everything else. So I am going to click on expanded view, and I'm going to see everything in all of its glory. I get to see some crucial information. It's 7 meg. Here's the file name. Here are any file transfers. It has been analysed. And hey presto, it contains bookmarks. So when you are typesetting, or when you give the specification to your typesetting freelancers or staff members of how you would like the finished product to be created, if you tell them to use paragraph and character styles properly, then you will get this for free. Because InDesign, if you export to a PDF and you've used paragraph styles, will maintain that kind of hierarchy. Same with LaTeX, although you do have to be quite deliberate with it. Same, I suspect, with other software that I haven't mentioned. I mean, there's only so many things PDFs have to do, and providing structure to your content is pretty high up there. So I would often expect that if you open up any PDF that you've got kicking around on your machine now, if you look for bookmarks, you'd hope that there's a nice table of contents there, chapter by chapter, possibly even section by section, part by part, and then it's a subchapter level as well. And what a fascinating insight if you open up a PDF that you think, gosh, yeah, I'm sure we would have done this. Great to check, isn't it? So this one has got bookmarks, and now I can do one of 3 things with it. I can add those bookmarks as a table of contents, but only the titles. So, real kind of top level information there. Or I can get the next level down, table of contents there, and you get a little preview of what we're talking about there. Or I can do the full table of contents, and that's going to have every level in it. So I'm going to add that one as a marketing text. You can see the button is available there for me to click. So I click, and it says it's added it as a marketing text. So I go up to marketing, and now my Cats at Large has a table of contents. Here it is. This is again in kind of minimized mode. Let's go to maximized mode, expanded view. And I get to see that here's the table of contents that I do not have to type in or copy and paste or get the HTML formatting right on in order for it to be presented just like this on other people's systems. So such a boon to be able to, it almost acts as a proofreading exercise as well, doesn't it? If you're scanning through this and you're thinking, wait, where's chapter 7 gone? Or, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, you'd be like, what's going on there? So I really like using real data for this. it's the sort of data as well that is only going to be available at the end of the process. So it's a classic example of, add information as early as possible in the process, keep enhancing it. Don't sort of consider that initial setup is you done. No, you want reviews, you want tables of contents, you want more edition information, keeping the record alive, and keeping it trustworthy, I suppose, as well then. So that's cracking. Oh, and then it gives me the option to say, actually, which products do I want that added to? Because it's a bit of an imposition to assume. So I would double click to edit that, and I would. Oh, look, and you can see actually that's what it's done. Really nice structure there, so that you don't have to. Saves you a bit of bother, doesn't it? You can add in more information if you want, and then I'm going to apply that to all of the books on all of the products on this work. Great, all good, all very nice. Oh, and don't forget our lovely copy to clipboard things, so you can get the data. One of our clients, I wonder if you're listening, asked fairly recently for a rich text copy button. Always a pleasure to oblige, sir. Great, so that is adding a PDF with bookmarks into the metadata page. Let's now do the same, but for accessibility information. So I'm going back to my files section, and I'm going to turn that into summary view again so that we don't get cluttered. So we have got one file on this work. And now if I scroll down, because I've added a product that is an electronic book that is of the sort that is an EPUB. So I've got this e-publication accessibility bit at the bottom now. Hooray! And this is the information that you need to fill in to explain to people what actions you have taken to ensure that the widest possible readership can access your content. And you can write stuff in here. You can write, certification information. You must write a short explanatory summary. Here's your details, which are like code based. So that's all great. But this information, just like the table of contents, is embedded within your content. It's like it's waiting there, ready for you to use. So what a great use of computers to save you time on that. So let's do that. So I'm going to add a content file, and it's another ebook. And sure, fine, distribute it. And it's approved, and I'm going to go back to my file, and I've got an EPUB ready to go. This is actually from our test suite, and it's one called With More Accessibility Codes, because I didn't want to go and get somebody's book and realise that they haven't added the correct information into their book, and then that would be my rabbit hole for the afternoon, wouldn't it? So this does depend on you having asked your typesetter to make sure that they have put accessibility information into your ebooks, which I do not think is a contentious point to make, is it? So I'm going to wait for my background job to run through that again, and I'll get my little bell icon incrementing in a moment. Oh, it's already done it. That was very fast, wasn't it? Whew. So let's have a look to see what that looks like. Oh my word, there it is. So expanded view, let's have a look. We've done our bookmarks one, lovely. Scrolly. And here's our accessibility codes one. It's got bookmarks too, so you can get a twofer sometimes. But we're looking at this for the accessibility information. And I've got a lovely button to say, well, I can add all of this certification information to my EPUB. So let's just have a look what information they've got. They've given some coded details, fabulous. They've given a human readable summary, brill. They've given, example, Ali report. They've given the certification, great. And we've also got some content type accessibility details. And those details are that it contains still images, text, mathematical content, and images. So I can add both of those if I want. Let's click on add accessibility information to the EPUB. That has been added, and that's going to appear down here. So, you know, single click. And what I really like about this is that it's another great reason to make sure that your content out there in the real world has got the information that is needed by law, but also needed so that people know what they're getting when they pay the money. This is all, there's a win-win-win going about here. And then let's come back to this uploaded file bit. This file contains content type accessibility details. Let's add those content types. Why not do that? Fantastic. So we've done that as well, and now that is all, you know, stored in the right place in digital book content. We've got those content types. So I haven't had to come here and select from this list. We have used the original content to make that happen. So yeah, so that's why I said on the slide, never gets old, because that is time saving, data enriching, definitely compliance based, being polite to your customers, ticks every box. What's not to like? There are quite a few other resources I think that we've done over time, going into more detail on that, but I think that was fairly good overview. Let us know any feedback, additions, changes, enhancements, because this is just the absolute stuff of the whole point of the exercise. Having to spend less time on administrative tasks and also enriching your data. Good. Right, what's next? Depth. Price changes on the metadata page. So I was looking at some price changes the other day. We did an import of a whole load of price changes. I think we might have talked about it on the live stream. Oh, maybe I dreamt it. Who knows? But it did mean that pricing was a little bit on my mind. And I think maybe sometimes, January is a bit of a month where you might do a complete reprice. So pricing is interesting. And I thought we would come to the pricing bit of consonants and just have a little look around it. So first thing to say is that this product does not have, this work and its products does not have any pricing. I've just looked outside and I've seen my extremely large grey cat bravely pacing through the snow. It's very offended. It looks like he's walking through custard or something. Silly boy. So this work and its products has no pricing at the moment. So nice plain start for us to look at. So let's click on the consumer RRP section. So we've got consumer RRP, recommended retail price. We've got library RRP. There are a whole bunch of other types of pricing that you can manage through consonants and then disseminate to Apple and to, Apple and all retailers, distributors, wholesalers and so forth, that vary by sales territory. This account is configured to manage consumer and library, but if you need special membership pricing or corporate pricing and that sort of thing, hopefully you have known to ask us to set that up on your account, and you will see many more options here. If you're an academic or scholarly client of ours, then chances are we've already had that discussion. So I clicked edit, and here I am looking at some empty boxes. Worth just stopping to see how using the keyboard can be fruitful at times like this. So rather than me using my poor old digits to navigate a trackpad or a mouse, although whatever works for you, I can go 999 999999999, and if the price is all the same, then that's, I would say, the most efficient way to do that, just so long as you press the the tab key and not the whatever that is. Shift? Is that a shift key over there? Yes. So that's fine. I also want to point out these hovery information boxes. So the hovery information box here goes into a lot of detail about what exactly a GBP Inc. tax consumer price is. And if you want to follow your nose and have a look at those, then you are very welcome to do that. But what I'm going to do is press save, and those boxes are going to become even more interesting, because what I've done now is add in kind of the number 9, but in lots of different currencies. And consonants is already like, hello, what? 9 Australian dollars and 9 GBPs? That doesn't look right. That is 50% of the GBP price if you apply today's exchange rate. And clicking on that, you will see the calculation behind that. We scamper off and we get the foreign exchange rate as it is at the moment. And then we say, oh, but shouldn't it be something like $18 rather than $9? So this is a classic consonants thing, isn't it? We haven't said, computer says no, boot you out, you're not allowed to do this. Because you're your own person, and if you want to sell it at 9 Australian dollars, it's your data, it's your system, it's your books, do it. But what we are doing here is flagging up that there's a data discrepancy that you might want to attend to. So it's worth having a process the sort of numbers in here. 49% is quite low, 54% is quite low, 78% isn't so bad, 84% isn't so bad, but they're still quite useful little widgets to say, are we losing money here where we needn't? Because we've decided that this book is this valuable for one particular market. Why is it not as valuable for others? So quite interesting, quite useful to have a look at, and see where you go. We've got this other section here on pricing on the metadata page, and this is the section of stuff that applies perhaps at the higher level of the individual prices by price type here. And in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through and not do that, and make a change so that we can look at the price history in a minute. So that started as 9, it's now 20, and I may as well just make that 40 while we're here. And then my shouting, complaining thing will go away. Great. So let's have a look into this section up here, this tax status and configuration area. As I ever click to edit, and I can set some big things here. If you've got discount codes, then you won't need me to explain what they are. They're a way of secretly saying to a partner on the internet what the price band for this might be. So if you need them, you need them, and if you don't, then don't worry about it. But we've got some other options over here. We've got advanced edit, we've got price history, and we've got pre-configured suppliers. Pre-configured suppliers is an absolute doozy, because if you need to have market-specific pricing, market-specific availability information, then you will weep with delight about this. But that's going into, I want to do that properly sometime, so we'll go into much more detail on that another time. But it could just save 2026 for you. But no, I wanted to have a look at price history, which is another option here. And here's the price history of the records that we created just a moment ago, the create. And if I scroll down, here is the update. So, just like the audit trail we were looking at really, but with pricing, because it's such a particularly interesting area, and so directly related to your financial health, this is a useful page to perhaps have a look at from time to time when the price of a particular works, products, is causing any concern or interest. Final thing to say on this, I think, because I have talked at you almost solidly for an hour, is that the boxes that you have here, these consumer RRP boxes, as you saw, all I did was put in a number. If you are the sort of person who wants to not just put in a number, but wants to put in all of the tax information, or if there's a highly complex tax situation on a particular price, you can do that. You can go to Advanced Edit, and you can see that these are like the full price records. And we're on only one product's worth of price records here. I can edit an existing one. I can add a new price. I mean, I wouldn't come here unless you are driven to it, because you can, this is one price, this whole page. It's really easy to get yourself into a right triangle, and I speak personally, if you get the wrong thing in. But it's just interesting sometimes to peek behind the curtain, isn't it? To know what we are sort of abstracting away from you. But we wouldn't want to remove the capability to edit it. So if you've got like a multi-tax product, mixed media or something, if you're very clear that you know what you're doing, or you want to change the tax or something, or if you've got some price effective from and to dates, bearing in mind that even if you set those from and to dates, doesn't mean that anyone's going to obey them. It will go out in Onyx, but whether they adhere to your requirements or not is a conversation you'll have to have with them. Anyway, so if you want to see the real detail, that's how you get to it. And if you want to add a new price, you could do it from here. But and final thing to say, as I think I either dreamt about or we did on a live stream recently, you can import prices into the system from the importing area. So here's your template, go and get that. And the workflow, we did do this, didn't we? The workflow is download all your prices first into Excel, fiddle with them, re-upload them. Saves you typing something in 50,000 times, which is to be encouraged. Great, so that was pricing. Speed. I thought we'd speed run a new work, just for fun, because again, like January, I feel like it's a bit of an acquisition month. It's like, okay, we've had our break, let's go. What are we going to do this year? Oh, we've got like 50 works that we want to put through the acquisition process. Not all of them we will accept, but we need to get them going. So if you are faced with an enormous stack of admin, I will show you what I'm going to do. You can import products and works from the place where we just were, but I'm going to speed run this, so I'm going to use the duplication feature. Okay, stopwatches, go. I'm going to go add new. I'm going to duplicate the work. I'm going to call this Cat's Throat Mystery, slowed down only by my typing speed. I'm going to select everything that needs to be selected. I want everything. I'm going to click duplicate and stop the stopwatch. Clockwatch. So duplicating a work is a really nice way to get, things like series works, or works by the same author, or works in the same catalogue subject code area. That's the series membership there. With the same product types, any kind of dimension really. You can make an argument for, find a really similar work, do this, and then change the bits and bobs that need changing. It's always going to be set to not live, that's good. And we've got main descriptions, but we won't have things like ISBN 13s. Oh, can you imagine the carnage? So ISBN 13s get omitted from the duplication code. We won't have files because they're not going to be the same. If you want to find out more on that, go to add new duplicate work, and there is a read what gets duplicated as standard, so you can have a look to see what gets duplicated as standard. And then these are like opt-in ones. So I really recommend that if you're not habitually using it. I think I find that it is easier to start with a lot and whittle it down rather than start with nothing and whittle it up. whatever an upwards whittle is, that's what I don't want you to do. So I could definitely just create a new work from scratch. While I'm here, actually, let me just disambiguate this for you. We're on a work here, right? we're on a work that's called Cats Throughout Mystery. If I go up to the identity, the title is Cats Throughout Mystery. And you always have to hold in your head, am I thinking about the work, which is like the parent, or am I thinking about its products, which are the children? And if I double click on the titles region, that's a really great place to try and get that clear. The title is Cats Throughout Mystery. What's the problem? What are you going on about? Scroll down a little bit and you see that you can overwrite that information at the product level. Now, Consonance takes the path of least resistance and is assuming that until told otherwise, the products are going to have the same title as the work. So we're not making you type in Cats Throughout Mystery, Cats Throughout Mystery, but we are giving you the opportunity to override it if you need to. So, when you're looking at a work, you're looking at the entire family that encompasses the audio, the hardback, the paperback, the EPUB. And so when you're looking over here on this add new and your mouse is hovering and you're like, do I duplicate a work or do I duplicate a product? What's going on? Don't make me think. Well, duplicating a work is the entire family. Duplicating a product is the product that's mentioned as part of that line. So if I want to duplicate the no ISBN hardback, I'll do it now, then that will add a new product onto this existing work, and it will it will take as a starting point the information from the previous hardback. If you want to add a product to this work, but you don't want to have any sort of starting point, then click Add Product to this work. If you want to add a brand new work, then you can potentially actually go all the way over to the works index page, and there's a button there and it says Add New, and it sort of takes you through a little wizard thing, and you can start from absolute scratch, or you can choose to duplicate a work there. So you could go add new work from scratch, or you could duplicate an existing work, and this is the same functionality as we saw on a particular works page. So you can get wherever you're starting from. You can get to where you're going, but on this page you would have to say which work do you want to duplicate, because you're not on a work. But adding a new work from scratch is quite fun as well, because it shows you just how little information you can get away with in Consonance. That's it. This is an entire work. It's got nothing. It's got no title. It's got no products. It's got no prices because it's got no products. You can't have a price for a work because a work doesn't really exist. It's the holding group, isn't it? It's not the thing that you sell, so it can't have a product. It's got no marketing text, blah, blah, blah. So, don't ever let a lack of data be a blocker to getting the record onto Consonance, so that when data does come, you've got somewhere to put it, and you don't have to put it on a post-it note, and you don't have to hold it in your head or put it on a spreadsheet. Heavens forfend. Awesome. 2:53. I did go on a bit. You've been very patient and brave. But that was good, because we looked at the metadata page for the first time in ages, and that's given us a nice grounding for any possible new activities that may come in this coming business year. So that's good. Any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to contact us. And if you would care to like and subscribe, then I'd be eternally grateful, and tell people to check in for the bits that they are interested in. I'm sure there was something I was going to mention. Maybe it was just the London Book Fair again, because the diary is starting to fill up. A bit nervy, like we're only in January. So if you want to catch up, then drop us a line. Right, we'll have as bearable a week as possible. I think that's the best we can hope for, isn't it? And this is This is me from beautiful northern Scotland. I think I'm going to go out and tread in the last of the snow, actually, because it's pretty good. Pretty good out there. Right, have a good one then. Happy weekend. See you later.